Yo, the video. I'm gonna do it again. I don't care. This is the 5th time we did the video. The 3rd time it worked out great. This video stopped for some reason.
Yeah, the foam. Just shut it off.
Yeah, man.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it was a really good video. All right, let's start this off. Hello, everyone, and this is Let's Talk About It. And today's topic is communication. For those who didn't see the Instagram post, we're gonna get right into the shit. Communication is something that's very important. I think it might be the 2nd most important thing to a successful relationship and a healthy one, right behind loyalty.
I was gonna say, what's the first one?
It's communication.
Definitely.
I'm gonna speak from the male perspective. You can speak from the woman. Chime in. For men, I think communication is very difficult, and it's because the way most men are raised. Most men, at least where I grew up, and my tier of friends that I have, we're typically raised by women, and the hardest thing for a woman to do is raise a boy into a man, and the only way to do that is to make sure that they're strong enough to survive in this world. What? She gave me the all right. I'm getting a little too thick for it. I mean, a little too deep for it. So, ultimately, as kids, we hear very often, toughen up, boys don't cry, things like that. And I think when you get into a relationship with a woman, you know what I mean, you have to deal with all these things, with dealing with your anger, talking about your feelings, just being caring. And that's very difficult for men to do, and that usually gets in the way with communication, ultimately leads to arguments, and
I feel like that's pretty much similar to some women. Some women don't know how to put their feelings into words. Like, for example, I was one of them. I was unable to put my emotions into words, or I would get physical, or I would just not know how to handle the situation. And sometimes I would even write down my feelings and have a conversation that way.
We went through a bunch of different stages. Sorry guys, we went through a bunch of different stages in our relationship to figure out how to communicate. When we first started, we used to be screaming on each other.
My best advice: try everything. Even if it sounds silly, because listen, we're gonna tell you some of ours.
We went through some shit.
Yeah.
It went from screaming. We would fight. We would throw shit at each other. One time she pushed me through the wall.
Yep.
I used to punch holes in the wall because I couldn't hit her. And then at a point we realized that's more destructive than anything.
And it's like, why be with each other if this is how we're going to handle
problems?
Like, this is the person you love. This is not how you're supposed to do any of this.
Yeah. And then so we went to another form of it where we tried not talking. We used to write. She got me to try it. She used to have a notebook and just write down however she was feeling. She would leave them there for me to read, and then I'd have to respond. We did that for a certain amount of time. It didn't last crazy long because I don't want to write, things like that. So we had to figure it out. It took way too long to get through the problems for the way I felt about it. And then a couple years ago, we just had a heart to heart. We let each other know, this is what I want, this is what it's been, and this is what we need it to be, or this isn't gonna work.
Yep.
And we really had to focus in on what we wanted. And once we had that conversation, our lives have been totally different. And I think that's what most people like in our shoes and hope to be in our shoes have to do.
We had set a time where we literally sat down, conversed about all of it, and then decided, we were like, you know what? If we really want this to work, we're going to have to figure something out. And if it doesn't work out, then we're just not meant to be with each other, and we're going to just walk away. And we eventually figured it out. I mean, there's still some times, don't get it twisted. There's still some times where we literally struggle on getting through our little things, but it's very rare.
We don't really fight about anything too big anymore. It's little shit.
It's more because of me, because I say that there's like no drama in our lives.
She dead serious. She said, Eric, JC, this is not the time. Okay, she's gonna help him anyway.
It's the mom in me, sorry.
Yeah. Damn, what was I just saying?
Because I said there's no drama in our life.
Yeah, so a couple months ago, she gonna say, Eric, we have a problem. What's the problem? We don't have enough drama in our life. This is how docile our life has gotten. This is how well we got it down packed pretty much, is that she wants more problems.
No,
Women are fucking
making
crazy.
He's making it sound like I'm on problems. No, I just,
She wants all the smoke.
A little bit of jealousy here and there. A little bit of why we did that. It's something.
We
but
worked past it. Our latest argument, I forget what it was about, but
it wasn't even an argument. I don't even remember.
Oh, it was about you going to school, and at the heat of the moment, I said some things, and it didn't come off politely. She thought I was being a dickhead about it, and she was mad at me. She was mad at me. She was pissed. She was hurt, and weeks go by, and we just had the conversation a few days ago, and it didn't affect our daily life. You have to be able to take small arguments. If you can't handle them at the moment, put them on the back burner. There will come a time where the conversation will come up again, just as it does for us.
Sorry for the shaking. The dogs are fighting around the table.
Abby, Axel, no.
But, yeah, if you give yourself enough time in between the arguments or the discussion or whatever you want to call it, the nitpicking, whatever, you give yourself enough time in between and enough space for each other, go by your life as normal as possible. And even though it's bothering you, sometimes you could tuck it away and bring it up at a better time. For example, we were in the car having a blast, just joking around, talking, making fun of the songs, whatever. And I don't know where I brought it up because it came up, I remembered. And I explained to him how I took it, and then he told me his point. And that's how we settled it. Because some people would take it and like, oh, I'm a push it under the rug, but still hold it over the person's head. And that's not the way to go on.
If you can manage to put things on the back burner until a better time comes up, you do have to face those issues at some point. You can't just leave it there.
Yeah.
Because that baggage does get heavy, and eventually it's gonna come to a boiling point, and you know how that goes. And shit is almost incurable at that point. Yeah. If you're gonna have a successful communication combination between the two of you, you guys have to be open. You guys have to be willing to submit to one another, and you have to be able to tell men specifically exactly how you feel and what you think. But you can't say it to where you're berating people. You gotta talk. It's literally just sitting down and having an adult conversation.
Listen.
And you gotta be willing to listen.
You have to listen to the other person. You can't sit here and say, yeah, let's talk about it, and then interrupt them every single time they're trying to explain what they're saying just because you don't like what they're saying. It don't matter whether you like it, and it don't matter whether your feelings were hurt or not. Because at the end of the day, that person has to voice what they are feeling in order to let you know where they believed you fucked up. And then that's when you express yourself and tell them, that's not how I meant it. Or this is how we should have handled it. Instead, give your opinion after the fact. But let the one person speak. Because if you're speaking over each other or yelling back and forth, you're not going to solve your problem. That problem in the moment is going to either get worse, or you're going to tuck it away for later on and never get back to it. And there goes your relationship.
It's all falling on deaf ears. For Diana and I, when we have like conversations that need to be handled immediately kind of thing, literally, it sounds very difficult. And it took us 5 years to learn how to do. Is literally just let one another talk. She would talk, and I'd be hearing something, and at that very moment when I hear something and I can explain it, I want to say my piece. We got to a point where we're like, all we have to do is throw out the finger. That means shut the fuck up, let me talk, and then you can speak. It sounds very simple, but in the heat of the moment, you have to be listening. It's easy to hear her talking, but you're not listening. There's a very big difference between the two. It's a very long video.
Sometimes also keep in mind that when you're having a conversation in the heat of the moment, you say things you don't mean. So it is best, as rude as it looks in the moment, it is best to catch yourself and walk away. Always remember that if you really are to the point where you're either going to smack a bitch or a nigga, or you're going to get extremely disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, just remove yourself from the equation. I've even told him that before you're about to come out nasty, you can let me know. I'm going to walk away before I say something I'm going to regret.
And she has to...
I'm going to get pissed because you're walking away and we're in the middle of something, but I respect it.
You
Because I'd
gotta
rather
give
you
the
do that
space.
than you call me a bitch.
Yep,
'Cause
you
that
gotta
was
give
all
them the
I
space.
have.
Damn, every time you're talking, I
Sorry.
come up with all. No, it's not you. It's every time you're talking,
I
you're
come
like
with
you're
something
saying
better?
things, and they keep popping
That's
up.
me.
And we might have to allow each other to cut one another off. It's 10 minutes. Let's start ending this. All in all, from me, the things you need to have successful communication between the two, just try to talk. Screaming, yelling, fighting, it's not going to solve anything. Absolutely nothing. You have to talk. And I know it's not easy, but you got to open up and you got to submit yourself to be able to have a successful relationship and a healthy one. Communication, like I said, is the second most important thing in a relationship. It's loyalty to communication. Without the two, you're definitely not going to be successful at anything.
I agree.
That's it?
I pretty much agree on everything he said. It's true. Like, just let each other get your point across. And if you don't let each other talk or give each other the space that is necessary, you guys will not be successful.
At all.
At all. And sometimes taking a break from each other to figure out how you can start communicating is best.
There might be a second part to this video because we still have a lot of things in our brain that we haven't got out yet.
Yes, there might be a part 2. We really like this topic. 'Cause
Yeah.
we went through a lot and learned a lot over the years.
Over 8 years. And you don't build an 8-year relationship, almost 8 years. You don't build that off of not knowing how to speak to one another. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoy. Keep a lookout just in case a part 2 does come out because this is very important. Very, very
Feel free
important.
to write us
And
with
feel
questions,
free-
topics, anything.
anything.
We will make videos or write you back. We will do
And,
it.
and
all.
we're normal people. We'll communicate as well, just to have a conversation, anything like that. Thank you all, and hope you love the video.
Deuces. Nah.